Здравствуйте, друзья! Mental health is a big problem around the world. The stigma that envelops the question is at times so potent that the lack of help for all those involved sometimes opens the door for non-traditional, bizarre solutions. The setting for today's story is a Russian babushka with a mental instability resulting in a concoction of paranoia and dementia. Our protagonist, let's call him Pavel, rented an apartment in some unnamed city in Russia. A month or so later, one of the neighbors started to bash the walls with something pretty heavy. Once every half hour, during the night, once you'd fall asleep, you're awakened by thunder. Every 30 minutes. Pavel and his girlfriend didn't want to move out, due to moving being such a huge hassle. They tried to find out the source of the disturbance, all the while suffering the effects of sleep deprivation. Until one night, the police showed up to the apartment next door. A 70-year-old babushka explained to the officers that an evil tenant from the building across the road was using a secret tunnel to install and operate a radiation emitter. In tandem with the tenant from the floor above, they were generating a very harmful radiomagnetic field in her apartment. She explained that she was using a frying pan to bash the walls in order to demoralize the operators. The police are helpless in such situations. Involuntary psychiatric intervention is not something that can be resorted to in this case. The only thing they can do is give her a tiny fine for hooliganism or domestic disturbance, 1,000 rubles, which is about $15. So this obviously did not really help. The nuisance continued into the next day. Anyone who tried to speak to the crazy babushka were made her enemies. She was convinced that they're all just trying to make her move out and take over her apartment. A helpless case that had been going on for 8 years until Pavel decided to act creatively. Pavel understood that confronting the babushka was pointless, so instead he created a medical brochure on how to deal with radiation in the home. He appealed to several national heroes for babushkas all over Russia, among which are Mr. Vladimir Putin, the President of Russia, and Gennady Malahov, a traditional medicine advocate with a very popular morning TV show on one of Russia's largest channel, Первый канал. The brochure suggested 2 methods that work especially well against radiation. 1. Urinotherapy, which involves the application of human urine for medicinal or cosmetic purposes, including drinking of one's urine or massaging one's skin or gums with one's own urine. No scientific evidence exists to support any beneficial health claims of urine therapy. And 2. Tinfoil hats. The brochure contained a detailed instruction on how to assemble one for personal use. So Pavel's idea was to make her wear a protective tinfoil hat and drink some of her own urine for good measure. This did not work. The bashing resumed. Angry, he stormed to the door, rang the bell, but stopped himself from becoming another one of her enemies. He calmed down and decided to play along. He started suggesting reporting the wrongdoers to the authorities, to which she responded that she wrote over 30 letters to the police and the FSB. "They're all on it," she said. Pavel explained that bashing the walls does not help the situation and that he and his girlfriend had been unable to sleep for several months. She apologized and restated that there was no other way. The tinfoil hat that she had tried long before stopped working after a couple of weeks. Pavel suggested to lay the floors with thin metal sheets, which he even offered to buy and install. She explained that the metal sheets had to be 5 centimeters or 2 inches thick. Nothing Pavel could suggest worked for her. Frying pan bashing was the only thing she could do. What happened next comes straight out of a spy movie. Imagine this. Pavel opens his pirated version of Photoshop and designs an Interpol agent ID. Confides in the crazy babushka, telling her that he has been investigating the radiation gang and the only way he has been protecting himself is by using a US-manufactured radiation counter-emitter from a military stealth fighter. He offers the counter-emitter to her. She gobbles up the story and is so excited that she starts dancing. Pavel promises to give her the emitter in 24 hours as soon as he gets necessary clearance from his superiors in the US. The next day, Pavel drives to his garage. Armed with a variable power supply, some switches and buttons, an old Freon gas chamber, some antennas and spray paint, he assembles a super-secret CIA emitter. Presenting the device to the babushka, he explains that the emitter works in 2 modes. One that emits a protective radiation shield inside the apartment, the other emits radiation to the outside. She is strictly instructed to use the first mode only. The knob shows protection radius in kilometers. She understands and thanks him profusely. Pavel and his girlfriend have not heard from the Babushka since then, and many years have passed by now. Good on him for managing to handle a tricky situation involving a Babushka with humor, intelligence, and good psychology. Or did she die as a result of an electric shock due to poor insulation? We'll never know. Have you had any run-ins with Babushkas in your country? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to listen to more true stories from the land of the vodka-drinking bears, hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons below this video. See you around, and до свидания, друзья!
Pretty, pretty babushka.